One announcement from me is we have a fifth Thursday. It'll be in Pflugerville at, good grief. I don't want to talk into the mic right now.
You don't want the people online to know.
It's on the website, the location. Yeah, Victory Tap is where we are. We've been there several times before. And Patrick, do you want to talk about the next week? You and Miguel kind of own this whole show today. So I'll let you introduce Miguel and
Miguel, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you in person.
We finally get to meet each other face to face. Okay, so it's the Pat and Miguel show. Okay, so first off, Miguel, who is with the APPA, I believe, president, if I'm not mistaken. Yes,
Okay.
Lucky you. Yeah. So Miguel has invited us, the staff, the leadership there has invited our organization to their social next Monday, if I'm not, the 21st. Yeah. So, and that is going to be at the Beer Works, is that?
Austin Beer Works.
Austin Beer Works. So it's, don't bring your own, just bring money. So, but have a good time. And so we've got that. Miguel is going to be talking tonight. I've got his little bio here, so if you don't mind, I'm going to read some of it. I love how this is put, though. You're born in Puerto Rico, raised in Miami, and aged in Austin. Yeah. Father, he's a husband, father of 2 girls, and a dog owner. I'm not sure which one's the better deal out of all of that. The dog? or
The
2
dog,
girls?
for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad your wife's not watching because I'll be in trouble. You'll be in trouble saying that. Okie dokie. So Miguel has been in photography on and off for lots and lots of years. And in 2020, he decided to open up a studio or a business. And it was called Nabla Photography. And you'll have to explain that one to us, okay? And so he works with fine art dance photography. And so he does this on a fairly large scale, larger than any one of us would do. And so we are here to hear what Miguel has to tell us all about it. So you're all mic'd up and ready to go.
Yes.
Okie doke. Well,
Awesome.
I'll get out of the way. Miguel, it's all yours.
Thank you, Patrick. Hello, everyone. It's kind of weird, but I want to understand from you before I get started, what kind of information are you expecting? So like that, I can talk to it a little bit more. I don't know if you want to know about dance photography itself, business, or the process, the lighting, the actual photography part. Anything interests you? Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about that. I figure introduce myself a little bit. I've been in technology for about 30 years, almost 27 years now. Man, age catches up with you. Although I was a dog owner, I'm an ex-dog owner. Sadly, Killian passed away a year ago. But in college, I was introduced to photography because I had to take a class, elective class in photography. And basically, it was an odyssey to go to that class. Have you ever been in Miami? Do you know the traffic in Miami? Are you familiar? There's one person that's familiar. Okay, so this is where I used to work. This is where I used to live. That's about 30-mile distance, and it was 2 hours. Could be 2 hours to get from there to there each way. All right. So I used to work. I was in college. I used to work night shift as a avionics engineer. And then I would get out at 7:30 in the morning, drive to South Beach. It was the only place where you can get 1 hour slide film developed. Drive to South Beach, sleep in the car for an hour and a half. They said an hour, it was never an hour. It was always a couple hours. Drive back down to my house, take another little nap, get up, go to school up here, come back down to work, right? That was the odyssey. It was terrible. But a couple of weeks into the course, I had to do this whole process, and I get to the development place, and I had a couple of pictures still left on the film, right? I'm guessing everyone has done film at some point, and good. So I still had a couple of pictures, and I saw this bag rolling on the floor. That's not the picture, that's generated actually. But I saw this bag rolling on the floor, and it reminded me of tumbleweeds. So I got all artistic and took a picture of the bag rolling on the floor. And I had all these pictures that I was really proud of. You know, I took my box of slides to the teacher. I'm like, look at those. Look at the picture. Ooh, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's a bag rolling on the floor. And she's like, really? What does that mean to you? I'm like, well, you know, the parking lot it was early in the morning. The parking lot was empty, and it reminded me of tumbleweed, whatever. It's like, that's good photography. Basically, it gave me the fuel to continue the class because I was about to drop that class after all this driving that I had to do a couple times a week. So I continued the class, and then I just got into it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. And that was in college. Obviously, I was in an engineering track and a technical track, but I always kept photography as something that I kept going to as a creative outlet. Now, one thing I had in mind that I was going to talk a little bit about this. Does anyone has a technical background in here? Look at that. There's a lot of folks that have technical background and run into photography. And a lot of the conversations a lot of times are around, oh, are you technical or are you creative, right? Separating the two. I would argue that being technical, or at least being the type of experience that I've had in technology, requires a lot of creativity. Yes, engineering has a lot of structure. I get it. But to invent something new, you need to be creative enough to be able to do it, right? It's not written down for you. If it was, then you wouldn't be inventing it. To be a problem solver, you have to be creative to figure out how you're going to do that. I think a lot of that carries over to what you're trying when you're trying to solve something. Sometimes it's technical, like how am I going to light this whole room for a dance group that I need to take a picture of. And sometimes it's more creative, right? So how am I going to deal with the backdrops in order to get some dimension to the room and get the photo to be a little bit more dynamic, right? So a lot of times it's problem solving, figuring out what you have available to be able to make what you want to make at the highest quality you can, right, at the time. So what I did for a long time, my wife and I got married, and we moved to Austin, and we spent 10 years before having kids, and we travel. My job required me to travel. We traveled together, we did different things. So street photography was like kind of my first outlet into photography. These are some of the selections. You can go to Instagram and see more. I got to do a workshop with Valerie Jardin. That was actually really cool. It actually made me think about the photography process of very different after doing that type of workshop. I thought I was doing okay. These are probably not the best, but I thought I was doing okay. That said, I think it was missing the personal part of what I wanted to do, right? So So 2020 hit. 2020 was very expensive for us, right? First of all, COVID. Well, first of all, we had our first kid. That was pretty expensive. Then COVID, and it was like a few weeks before COVID started, or the shutdown started. So now we have kids and we're shut down and we're completely, I was in a job that I was working remote or on site 4 days a week, somewhere, most of the time in New York City, almost every week. And now I'm locked into my house with a crying baby. My wife is locked in there too. It was an experience, okay? That said, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I thought COVID was really good for us in the sense that I got to stay with my kid this whole time, the whole year and a half, seeing, every day, seeing how they're growing. I learned to appreciate that quite a bit. So that was great, but it kind of shut down the whole traveling aspect of this. And sometime around July, I decided, okay, well, I love photography. I really love photographing people, family members, families, people, pets. I'm going to put a business together. And I don't want to deal with the people right now, so I'll deal with the pets, right? And I said, oh, that sounded like a good idea. I figured COVID was going to last like a month or two, maybe. So I'll put it all together in a month or two. Boom, I have a business put together and I can go ahead and try to do that. Well, guess what? COVID did not last a month. It lasted a lot longer than a month. And I started the business and I started taking photos of dogs and actually it started popping up and the people wanted to do, obviously, they don't just want the dog, they want the family with the dog and la, 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 la. And it turns out that pet owners, me being one of them, are probably the worst people to deal with. I no kidding, this people brought their dog and I'm taking photos of the dog and doing different things, different lighting and whatnot. And they're like, yeah, but I want him to do this face that he does when I wake up in the morning. That's not it. That's not it. So basically trying to please and trying to get the best you can of a dog, because in most cases they're good and they're still, and you learn your tricks of how to get their attention and whatnot. But in some cases, it's very difficult. Turns out kids are pretty similar, especially little kids, on how to get the picture. But the parents are more willing to just drop them off and leave you. In most cases, they're like, God, I want to, this is my break for me. It's your problem. So I did pets. I was doing it in my house. I had an area in my house as a studio with the baby, COVID, all the procedures you had to do with cleaning and the mask and everything that was going on at the time. It just became very difficult, right? To do that. Plus, every time we had someone in, it started picking up, actually. The business started going quite a bit, considering that it was COVID timeframe. But my wife was like, okay, every time we have to do like this massive cleanup because they're coming to the house and we have to like put masks and had to take the baby out. So I decided, okay, what else can I do? Continue the photography piece, but what else can I do? And I had my sister-in-law, wife, or now ex-wife, to my brother-in-law, has a ballet studio in Atlanta. And one day she called me, she's like, hey, can you help me out? I need to take some pictures for the Nutcracker. I just would like some group pictures and can you help me come do that? So I'm like, okay, I haven't done that before, but sure. I mean, how hard could it be? Well, it was a little bit harder than I expected because once you're dealing with groups, especially bigger groups that are not just standing next to each other. You have a lot of area, right? You need to let those dancers show off their dresses, their outfits, their tutus, and all of that. And you need a lot of space. So now first question is, okay, so how do I put a backdrop on this thing that is big enough? Just finding a backdrop for it was actually a challenge. Then is, how do I light this thing so it's pretty even, or at least even enough that then you can kind of balance it in post. That was another challenge of that. And then was how do I manage a whole school, somewhere between 70 and 100 kids that are coming through, and volume photographers, they get it, right? I had never done any volume photography before, so I was figuring it all out at the time.
School?
Yeah, yeah. So I shoot at the schools, mainly because usually it's tied to an event that they're doing. So in the first case, it was tied to their dress rehearsal. So they were all dressed, they were all in one place. It was time to take the shots then. So let me go to this one. This is from the first year. This is basically what the teacher wanted me to do, right? I want to get these group photos for the different groups in the dance, right, in the Nutcracker. So they had different outfits, and some of them dress up in different groups. So they just wanted this. When I did the first time, when I went to do the first time, I also said, well, I'm doing it. How do I make some money out of this? Like I'm traveling over there. I'm putting my money in there. I didn't want to make money. I just wanted to at least get my money back, right, from what I was spending. Well, it turns out moms don't buy the groups. Most of the time, they won't buy these photos. Why not? They want their kid. They don't want everyone else. Yeah, yeah. They expect these photos to be free. So what I did the first year was that I did a deal with my sister-in-law, and I told her, look, you pay for my travel and the rental of stuff because it's in Atlanta, and then you can have the photos and give it to the kids. So a lot of the parents loved the photos. They were not going to pay for them, but they did want individuals of their kids. Makes sense. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I do that? So I came up and I said, okay, I'm just going to do portraits of the kids. So let me step back a second. So this is what we did with the kids. And then usually there are kids in there that are from 4 or 5 years old all the way to seniors in high school. So the older folks, the juniors, seniors in high school, we would give them special time during the shoot. And then we would shoot them or photograph them, not shoot them. We photograph kids in doing some of their top moves, right? Some of their expertise moves. So you get someone like this one. She's going to be a senior this year. So I've been photographing her for 5 years now. And she has been awesome from 3 years ago. She's been the prima ballerina on the show for 3 years now, surpassing other seniors that were there. So she's pretty awesome. So we would give them extra time and let them do this. Well, another tip, parents of high schoolers and things like that, they don't buy photos either. So how am I going to make money out of this? So I come up and I said, okay, I'm going to do this portraits. It's simple. I can do a quick setup of the lighting so I can have the groups and then come up to a second little booth, and then I'll do the individual shoot. Well, that was a huge success. Everyone wanted to buy those photos. And then I had some moms that complain about, well, it's not the whole body, they're not dancing, but it was very successful. So that's when I started, I switched over to, okay, the school doesn't have to pay me. I'll just charge the parents. And it was enough to be able to actually make a profit on the whole process. So I continue to fine tune this to the point in which now those are the most popular photos. Usually, even if you have photos like these of individual dancers, they mostly buy these, right? And I take a lot of pride on those and getting those really, really well done, because these, you have to kind of light, you cannot be very precise with the lighting, right? You have to light broth, um, because you have some students that are like this tall, some are this tall, some do movements that are pretty much, they just stand like this and you take a picture, and some others are jumping around and you have to be able to kind of catch them in the act, right? So you have to do a pretty wide lighting setup to be able to catch everything. But in a scenario like this, I have it set up so I can do very fine-tuned for each individual student in very short time. So I have it set up, have a light on the side coming mostly at like 40-degree angle, you know, like very, very common. I like to have the highlighter. I'm sorry? Yeah, and I usually use one rim light on this side. And I have it in a way in which I can move at least the front setup, I can move it in one thing. The only problem is when we have little kids like this, like there's no stand low enough for it. So basically I have to put it on the floor. But they're so cute that no one cares. Like they look, those are my favorites, to be honest, because you could get like really nice reactions from those. If they pay attention, they can get really like nice reactions. So one of the things I learned also last year, I was talking to Vance earlier, and last year I said, okay, well, I've been doing this for 3 years, 4 years. I want to expand this, you know, as a business. And I want to, you know, I was doing two schools a year. It was a hobby, right? Part-time. I was like, no, I want to spend this. And I expanded to 4 extra schools here in the Austin area. And let's just say this year I decided, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. It turns out, like, I was working with ballet schools. They have certain way of doing things, you know, but anyone has kids in ballet? Ever had kids in ballet? No? It's like military, right? So yeah, they all look very pretty, but that the instructor tells them, move that finger, they're gonna move the finger. They're gonna do whatever the instructor tells them to do, right? And they're gonna try to please and smile and do everything, you know, while having a leg up in the sky and never do everything else, which is awesome, right? Awesome to take a picture of. Now, they have a soft, you know, I guess the weakness would be that you tell them to do something like, oh, what do you like to do? Just do it. They won't do it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it, but I'm not going to come up and do something random. And then you have folks like these who are more contemporary dancers or pop dancers. Do hip, you know, they do multiple like competition type dances. And you can't get them to pay attention to you. They want to do whatever they want to do. And you don't need to tell them because they'll go do 10 moves that are all pretty awesome. And most of the time, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I could tell you a little bit about that. Okay. Why don't we, here.
No, but they can read.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about what the lighting is and the setup is for each one of these. Let's start with the wide one. So my preferred setup, this is the first year, so it's a little bit, you know, different, but I really like the reaction of this kid. I always loved that. This little reaction thing that's going on in here. So it's one of my favorites, even though it's on the first year. But First, let's talk about the backdrop. I basically ended up getting a muslin that's 10 by 20, and it's meant to go on the ground. But basically, I put two stands together and put the 20 wide. It's mostly okay. Last year I found this little bracket that actually puts the two stands together, and it makes it a lot better, like a lot smoother, because you would get this seam in the middle. It didn't matter how much you pull it, you would get a kind of like this seam in the middle that then I had to go in there and kind of edit in most of them, which was a pain. For lighting, I use two 7-foot umbrellas on boom, and I put them in the front, and I basically have them facing down and a little tilt, only a little tilt. So I'm looking at how much are they lighting the backdrop, because I like this part here to be darker. So I'm looking at, okay, they light enough on the backdrop, and that's how I shoot. Basically, I'm shooting down. Now, the floor on a dance school, in many dance schools, they'll have, I think it's called Harlequin floors. Okay, so this is like a rubber flooring, and it's used so it's not, better on the knees and on the feet of the dancers, which is great. It's great for them, but it attracts, because it's kind of like a rubber. It's shiny, and it attracts a ton of scratches. So now you have to be wary about that. And because it's so wide, it's really difficult just to put something on the floor, because you have people moving and they'll move that. If you put paper on the floor, you'll have to be replacing the paper all the time. If you put fabric or some sort of muslin or something like that, it's gonna be wrinkled all the time. So you either live with the wrinkles and kind of make it part of the scene, or you decide, okay, I'm going with the floor as it is. Sometimes it's black, and if it's black, it's great, because you can go with a black on black and kind of covers all the scratches. But in this case, it's gray, and every year drives me nuts. So I try to work with my aperture, so like that, the front end, I get enough in focus, but the front end of the floor is kind of out of focus.
Say, for the shadow that's cast by his head, was that just from all the light being in the picture? Or
Yeah.
because I don't see any way you could have used a reflector or anything in that.
Yeah, so I do use reflectors, but these floor, because they're light gray, they reflect quite a bit. And it's neutral light because it's gray, which is pretty good. That helps quite a bit. I do use reflectors, especially sometimes I'll show you later, formation in which they're kind of spread out like a horseshoe. And the ones in the front are either, depends on the formation, they're either too hot or they're too dark. So we have to do that. Another thing that we have to do, especially when we have those formations, I'm really aware of the skin color of the people, of the dancers, because if it's really light skin and she's in the front, they all want to be in the front, right? But if she's really light skinned, she's in the front, it's going to be blown up. So we try to bring folks back, and the same thing in the back. If it's the folks in the back are going to be a little darker than the ones in the front, so we want to bring the darker skinned folks to the front. So those are some things to worry about when you're doing this. But basically, I have two big C-stands, or the ones with wheels. I forget what they're called, but they're like C-stands, boom arms, and then I have two 600 lights that are pointing in there. Another thing, if you're looking at technical stuff, I use battery power flashes, because they're all kids, and there are really little kids, and they're running around, and you don't want anyone tripping over things and things falling on them. So when you're doing a whole day of shooting, that could be a problem. But because of, batteries run out, but I prefer to have extras than to deal with some lawsuit later on when someone trips on a cable or something. I'll talk about that one later. Thought I had another set. Okay, so this one, it's basically the same setup that I have here than this one, right? I have two lights, but what I do is, this is one of those shots that I'm in between. Okay, do the group shot, then stay behind because she was one of the key dancers, and do a couple of moves. So what I do in order to make it a little bit more dramatic, because if you light her up with the same light, she's gonna be, it's just a lot of light, right? It doesn't have that drama to it. I bring down one of the lights and bring down maybe a stop or two, and then you start getting this type of shadows, around, and at least it gives her a little bit more dimension, right? So that's one of the things that I like to do. You see here how it's darker on one side than the other, and you can't bring it down too much because it's still a big area that you're trying to light, but it's enough to give her a little bit of a touch to it.
On the orange photo, is that the color of the background, or did you change that in post?
The background?
Yeah, was that a green background and you shot her in
Yeah,
the?
green background. Yeah, it's a dark olive background. She happened to have this orange dress, and we're like, that's awesome.
To me,
Go
that's
over
more
the dress.
dynamic than the other chick.
I'm sorry?
To me, that's more dramatic than the other one.
Well, yeah, but this one, it was an individual session. So we had a number of different times. So that's one thing I was going to say. In the evolution of this, what I would do is on Saturday, we'll do the shoot, the whole school, basically. We'll do the groups. We'll do the kind of like the older individuals, and then we'll do the portraits of the individuals all one day. And then on the Sunday, I give them the opportunity to do an individual session. And those are paid sessions. In this last year, I was giving them an album. And basically they would get 2 to 3 hours, depending on what session they buy. And then we'll do different shoots. So this one is an individual. We did some shoot. I can show you some of the pictures of the session, but some of them were, in the dark leotard. Some of them were with the dress. She was also a soccer player, so we did some soccer. She changed outfits, and then we had the soccer with the point shoes, and it's just a combination of different photos in order to fill in that album, right? So it was a lot more crafted. If you look at I have a little video in Instagram. Basically, there's a ladder here, and there's an instructor here that were making the dress fly for that.
Did you have to learn any of the terminology, like with the sugar plum fairy? Are you saying, give me an arabesque on point, or are you just saying, do something cool?
No. Most of the time, even till now, I ask the instructors to be part of the posing, to do the posing. Mainly, they know the student, they know the strengths of the student. So they know what to tell them that they will do well. Because there's some students that do well on jumps and some others that do well on doing arabesque, for example. But
So the instructor is actually there saying, let's do this or let's do that.
exactly. And then, but I've gotten good enough to, well, first understand what they're talking about when they're talking about movements. So I can tell them, well, maybe modify it this way, because a lot of times, like for example, this pose looks, I think she looks nice, but that's not how she would do it in an official dance, right? I have to ask them, okay, do that move, but either, shoot your leg a little bit more to the side or whatever in order to be more pleasing for the photo, right? So you learn some of those. And then you also learn what is a good technique. So by just watching, for example, when you're doing an arabesque like this, one of the things I didn't understand why. I mean, I'm looking at it, I was like, this looks super difficult. And the instructor was like, no, do it again. It's not good. And then you're like, what? And then she'll do it again and it'd look even more awesome. And she's like, no, do it again. Move your feet or move your finger. Well, like the leg, for example, in NAPfS, if you see the heel, she's doing it wrong, right? When you do a profile, the leg should be coming out, right? Like she has, and the heel should be behind the foot. So you shouldn't see the heel, you know? So I started learning some cues like that in order to understand, okay, this is good, let's do it again, or this is good enough, because the kid is gonna wanna continue to do it the whole day until she or he thinks it's perfect, right? Which takes too much time, and you don't have that when you have 70 other students to deal with. So that's another thing, you gotta do it all quickly. Yeah, so this one was also an individual session. She was more, you know, like, on this case, she wanted to show a little bit more dramatic. I talked to the mom, and she wanted to also show like the soccer aspect of it. She does other things in school, so she wanted to put all that together. On this one, she just wanted to get some of the new skills that she had learned and kind of make it a little bit more like what do they call it? Name is going to come to me in a minute. But basically a lot cleaner. It's a lot cleaner, and it's the photos that they use for man. It's the photos they use in order to submit to camps.
Like a portfolio.
Like
a model has a
portfolio.
portfolio.
It's got a specific name. I'm sorry? Like audition photos, yeah. So those need to be a lot cleaner, basically a lot more boring, because it's all about the shape, and you can't modify them. You can't, oh, I'm gonna, you know, move the leg a little bit or something. You can't do any of that. It's meant to be what skills does that girl has and what do they bring to the table.
So it's technical rather than what's artistically pleasing.
Yes, yes. And I'll show you a good example once I go to the website there. But in here, in these type of sessions, I was going to say, this is where you can get crazy a little bit or play around with the lighting, figure out what you want to do. You know, this is not crazy with the lighting, but basically we were, the actual shot that we were shooting was dark. We were lighting the back and bouncing the light off the wall. And then her front would be black, basically the silhouette of her. That's one of the photos. That's what we were trying to catch. And then the mom said, oh, I like that. Can we do one like that? But to see her face so we can show it in the album or in the audition. So then we lit her from the front as well to fill in.
To get the brighter shot, did you raise the exposure or did you change the lighting? You added a front light? Okay.
Yeah, I put a big umbrella on the front. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So these like I think I talked a little bit about it. I like to use an highlighter on them. It gives them that little nice light. Another thing that I do, I mean, these are, again, you're doing this as 70, like you can't edit each one individually, right? I mean, sometimes, I mean, obviously for marketing purposes and things, I pick the ones I like the most and then I edit those more. But in reality, I have to get them back within a day or two so the parents can select, right? So I had to do it all in camera as much as I can in camera. So a few things that I do. I like the highlighter because it gives them that eye. It highlights their eye. I also like to make sure I have that light in the rim light on the side. So it separates them. It could get pretty dark, especially when they're dealing with like black outfits like that. And then the other thing I like to do is I use a soft, satin, I think it is, filter in front of the camera. And that kind of gives them that dreamy look to it. And because it's ballet, it kind of fits with the whole thing. And then it also gets rid of any imperfections on the skin that you may have, so I don't have to deal with that very much. Lately, what I also use is once I have all of those, I go through and pick the ones I like, put them through Evoto, and do a very basic process, and very basic edit, and then push them out to the cloud and get them, push them out to, I use, man, I'm forgetting about all the names today. Photoday. I use Photoday as my volume system. Okay. So what I had in mind was that I can show you some details on how I do some of this. So I have three main services: the studio services, the audition sessions, was the word we were talking about earlier, and then individual portrait sessions. Studio services is basically like that. For a while, for myself, I started doing kind of like composites, and started putting things together to make it look cool. And then the parents were like, we like that stuff. They saw it on my Instagram and they're like, how come that wasn't available to buy? And I'm like, okay, so it's an option that I provide for them. But that's not the majority of the photos. It is, see here, you can see this is in a U formation here. And you see the front kids can get quite hot. So you have to kind of like.
What's your Instagram?
Nabla Photography. I'm really terrible at updating. So probably what you have there is a while back. I love this little girl. I've been photographing her for several years now. This is the first year that she's, they have like, in the dance, they had like these bunnies, that snow bunnies, they're called, for this particular dance. So she has been a snow bunny for like 2-3 years, and this was the first year that she was out of that costume. She was super proud. So she enjoys the day off. The other thing that you get, well, in this screen it's even more blown out, but the other thing that you get is there's a lot of light outfits, either white or pink or skin color, and you have to be really careful not blowing up those outfits. Very similar to what a wedding photographer has to deal with. The other thing I like to do, this is just a simple portrait like the other one, but I like to kind of communicate with them while I'm doing this. And even though it's a couple minutes, between they get in and then the next one and then the next one, I try to ask them, oh, I saw you this year. And now that I know this particular school for a while, oh, last year you did this year you're doing something else. And I have that conversation while they're doing the line, right? So by the time they get in front, they kind of feel comfortable, and I can kind of tell them something to kind of cause some sort of reaction. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it makes it look down or look like reflective on what they're doing. And for me personally, those are some of the best shots, not necessarily looking into the camera. Sometimes we get playful. So one year, I chose the white backdrop. It was a terrible idea. I won't do it again. I do not recommend it. There was a lot of editing in order to get no wrinkles. And then you have darker backdrops like this, which is a blue, which in reality looks lighter than the gray that you saw earlier, but sucks light. The material sucked light so much that you couldn't light it enough, at least not without having specific lighting to it. And the thing is that it's so wide, you can't really point light to the backdrop, right? Unless you have it off the top, and that's not something I've gotten into yet. I'm sorry? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So the bunnies, they're super cute. They're my favorite. In the group. They're funny. The other thing that we do, it's you know, other than the serious photos and then smiling and you know doing the posing, we try to do like a goofy picture, especially on the younger ones. And basically, they start competing like, "Hey, the bunnies did more goofy stuff than you guys did. What are you guys gonna do?" And they really get into it, right? And then you start using that, telling them, "Hey, you know, the bunnies just stood up and it was a perfect picture. What are you going to do about that?" And they'll stand up and get it together, right? This guy graduated 2023. He was awesome. He did some jumps that I didn't have enough backdrop for. And you see half his body was on top of the backdrop. It was crazy. It was crazy. So when he did individual jumps and things like that, we had to tell him, okay, don't jump too high. Because it's just becoming an editing nightmare, having to cut you off and then, you know, but he was really good.
Which backdrops do you prefer? Do you like the painted looking ones or the solid ones?
I like the gray ones. So either with a solid gray or texture gray. I like the gray one because they have a lot of latitude, so you can get them really dark or you can get them a lot lighter and separate from the backdrop. I don't like the black ones because especially with the hair, it's always a problem. Like if you're doing an individual photo, it's not that big of a deal, but when you're doing a group, the black hair, I mean, it's hard to light specific, so the black hair is always gonna blend in and it just doesn't look as sharp. But, you know, questions? No, we saw that one. This is one of my favorites, not so much because the photo, but this not because it's the best photo of the group, but it's because it was one of the first ones that I did that first year that was kind of like, okay, Miguel, do whatever you want to do with the dancer. And then we came up with this pose and we set it up and everything. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is cool, right? Like, this is something I want to do, right?
So quick question on
Yeah.
these sessions. How much space are you given, physical space to do this? And what is your focal length for like a group versus an individual?
Yeah. Good question. The answer to that is it depends. Actually the focal length I can tell you pretty quick because I only use prime lenses. I just learned to shoot on prime lenses and I have zoom lenses, but every time I have them, I find that I'm messing around with it more than I need to. So the groups, I'm usually shooting a 50 millimeter to the groups, and I try to get enough space. I also have a 35 in case that doesn't fit, but I usually do a 50, and typically a room, a nice size room would be probably like the length of that, but this wide, like around here. So you have a really narrow room. So typically we'll do one end and then I'll shoot from the other end. And then on the other side, I'll put the the backdrop for the portraits. Yeah, so I have a camera set up here to shoot that way for the groups. And then I have another camera set up that way to shoot the portrait. And then I just go from camera to camera.
Portraits, do you still use the 50 or do you use like an 85?
I use, the answer to that depends because I may use the 85, I use the 85 as much as I can, but it depends on how much room left over I have. So 50 is easy because I get a lot of area to be able to crop. 85, then it starts getting a little tight and it's difficult to get. Because, you know, one of the things is in this type of business, you're shooting for either 8x10s or 5x7s, right? So you need to be able to have enough space around to be able to go both ways. So when we're talking about audition sessions, basically it means an RFS, headshots, and maybe one extra pose. That's typically what we're trying to do. On white, if not like the most simple backdrop we can do. We're not looking for artistic lighting or anything like that. I mean, in the portrait, in the headshot, yeah, you can get a little bit creative, but really you need a clean headshot, and the RFS is the most important dance move for the ballet, for ballet. And in that RFS, they may take 20 times to actually get it right because they're trying to do as best as they can. And the students are usually harder than the teachers on it. And the teachers understand, okay, you did it as good as you're gonna do it. But because they're seeing the photo, oh, do it again, do it again. And then the more they do it, the worse it gets, right? So you wanna kind of control that and kind of say, okay, we're gonna do it 3 more times. If it doesn't come out, we'll go do something else.
So
And
does that
we'll-
mean you're shooting tethered so that the students are able to see it and, you know, do another shot or something like that?
Yeah, because most of the time it's not so much for the students, for the instructors. For the instructors to see, especially the group shot and group shots and things like that, they'll see it, they'll approve it, I mark it. So like that, by the end of the shoot, I already know what the instructor like. I grab those and move on with those as opposed to having the whole thing. Now for the portraits, I do shoot tether, but I don't really show them to them. I just, it's for me to make sure that I'm on the right setting. Sometimes moving up and down, you kind of like get the settings messed up. So it lets me fine tune. And then the individual sessions. So I started doing, I mean, the ones on the top are some that you've already seen, like some of these. These are individual sessions that I've done with some of them already. Some of the other ones are individual sessions, but with the lighting that we have set up for the groups. But those are some of the moves that we're trying to get. These are not, these are more seniors. And then you have some like these in which we're trying to capture more like artistic, like the kid aspect of it. We're not trying to capture any major move or something like that. And then I started working with different type of dancers. I figured, well, I'm already doing ballet, and I started doing some competition dance. I started working with tango dancers, and these are some professional salsa dancers, and these are beginner dancers. It turns out every dance has its own nuances, okay? It's very different to go from ballet to competition dance to salsa dance to tango. Salsa dancers, for example, this is a pose shot, but really what they want movement. They don't really care about the details as much. They care more, can they show movement, right? They have all these things that they want moving around, right? What is this called? Someone knows?
Tassels.
Yeah. So they want their, yeah, they fringe. So they want all that movement to show on the photo. Tango dancers, on the other hand, they're more serious, more pose, more technique. It has to be the knee bend in the right direction, very much kind of like the ballet, but without movement, right? So, I was telling Vance earlier, like this type of shoot, I
want to see how you bring it up by itself. Yeah, that one.
no, it doesn't.
Did you use colored lights, colored gels?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use color lights on the side. You see the rim light there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a big print of this one actually at the house. Yeah, for some reason I can't.
Is it on your history?
Yeah, it should be,
Study.
should be,
Study.
yeah. Yeah, and then, so those are very different. Same thing when you're dealing with ballet schools and competition schools. You know, I talked about the discipline of the two it's just different the way they work. But also the ballet school, the competition school, the way they go about their photos and the process is very different. The parents actually want the photos because usually these dancers are doing 4 or 5 different dances. They have an outfit for each one. Those outfits are expensive, right? And it just adds up. And the parent signs up to take individual pictures of that student for you to take picture of them in all the outfits or in a set of outfits. So it's more profitable from a business perspective, but it's a lot more work. So you have 100+ dancers, takes a couple of days. They all want, they have to like dress up, go change, dress up, go change, and it just takes time, right?
So do you have like a limit for the school individuals? Like you can only do one look, and then for your solo or your individual shoots here, it's like we give you a max of 3 looks per session or something like that.
Yeah, so what I do is if I have a competition, I max at 3, and then I set the blocks because not in competition schools, not all students get photos, right? This is something in ballet schools, everyone gets a photo, even if they don't buy it. You have to photograph everyone. But in the competition schools, they say, okay, a photographer is going to be here. They have these time slots. Whoever signs up, that's who gets it, right? So the odds are that if someone signs up, they're going to for sure buy something, which is good. So you give them a little bit more dedication to them. You give them a little bit of leeway of, okay, 2, 3 outfits. The thing is that some of them will have 5, 6 outfits, right? And they want all those outfits. And then they have the sister who also have 5, 6 outfits, and they want together with the sister. And then you're like, okay, it was a learning experience for me. And I learned I don't want to do it again. But, but yeah. How are we doing on time? We're good? Okay, cool. So I want to talk a little bit about, we talked about the lighting. Any other questions around lighting?
Just in general, what's the lighting kit?
Lighting kit? I use Flashpoint or Godox. I have 2 setups, one with 2 600s and 2 400s, and basically on the big canvas, I use 2 600s on the big umbrellas, 7-foot umbrellas on the front, and then now I'm putting 2 400s on the edges to give edge lights to the groups.
Okay.
So so these are different. These are individual sessions, so they're again more creative. And basically, this one has a light coming in this direction. I have a light going to the backdrop because it was pretty dark. So I wanted to get the backdrop, that light that you see in the backdrop there. And then I have an edge light that's color edge light that's hitting her. Yeah, so this one this one in the pink. Yeah, so this one in the pink, I actually have the light. I have a light behind. I have a light behind them here, but it's pointing at the backdrop. In here, it's pointing forward.
Because you rim line him with that. See the edge of his nose and everything? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's pointing forward, and the idea was to like give them that edge because even if I tried pointing it to the backdrop, but because of the black here, the black on
And their hair.
everything
Yeah.
kind of blended in anyways.
Yeah.
So I went this way to give them that edge. And then, so those are more, you know, I lighted depending on what they're looking for. I have a picture of these two. If you look at my Instagram, I can probably show you. Let me see if I have it here.
Ooh, before you go back.
Okay.
Oops.
Oops.
Okay, so
Late.
back to your salsa dancers.
hmm
So you've got two different skin tones. Did you light both persons separately to get the skin tones to somewhat balance?
No, no, you had to go somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And to be honest, I'm not really super happy because of this bright spot
Yeah, the
here.
highlight on his face.
But it's just hard. It's just hard to get both of them. The other thing that you want to do, so for skin tones, there's a few things that I'm really careful with. Mainly because I'm somewhere in between. I'm brown, and my family, it's all kind of all shades of brown. So we are conscious of it. But there are a few things. One, the darker the skin tone, the softer the light has to be. Okay, because the more the harder the light, the more reflection you get off the skin, and you'll get hot spots. If you do it to a light skin tone, you still get those reflections. It's just that it's light. With light, you can't really see it, right? It kind of blends in more, but it pops out on the darker skin. The other part is that a lot of folks, what they do is that they light it. You don't get hot spot, but you get to a point in which the skin tone is so lit that it looks almost white. You know, even though there are darker, I mean, that doesn't happen a lot with very dark complexions, but if the person is brown, you can light it enough that you look white.
Yeah.
And when they're looking at a portrait of themselves and they see that, they feel disappointed
Oh,
most
yeah.
of the time.
Hollywood portraits of dark-skinned people back in the 50s and 60s, they did not look like the person that they were.
Yeah.
Are
They
you
look-
using a light meter, Miguel, or are you shooting it all off the camera?
No, I use a light meter. I use a light meter, especially I always use a light meter, but definitely when doing the light, the big setups, it's hard to, I mean, you don't know what you got until you get the group in front of you, and you're not gonna get the group in front of you. It's kids, they're not gonna stand there for a little while until you get the lights right. So basically, I do light metering on every light, make sure everything is set like I think I want it. I'll take a picture of myself or my wife. I have a ton of pictures of my wife laughing at the camera, like just standing there. One day I'm gonna make a book of all those pictures through all the years. Um, but uh, but then the first group comes in, and when the first group comes in, I kind of do quick tweaking, right? I don't have to like worry about the ratios too much. I just need to, okay, is it light enough? Am I lighting? Do I have enough shadows? Too much shadows, and just tweak like that.
Besides your big umbrellas, what other modifiers do you keep with you?
Yeah, so for the big shoots, it's the big umbrellas. And then initially I had set up strip boxes. The strip boxes were good if you had 4 or 5, but when you have a bigger group, I just use reflectors, just pure reflectors, put them up high and point them down. And then that gets kind of like a rim from both sides. You have to be careful with that because it lights up. It may create streaks on the backdrop of lights. So you have to kind of point them in the right direction, play around with it for a little while to be able to get them right. For these individual ones, I like Westcott modifiers. So I have, I think it's a 36-inch or something like that I use, a softbox that I like to use. I also like, I just like a lot of umbrellas. I have this little umbrella that I bought in Amazon for like $10 once. And I think it's called a Broly box. Not really sure, but it's like an umbrella with a diffuser, and it's kind of stitched together. And it's that I've gotten better pictures from that than from some of the modifier. I spent a lot of money on modifiers, and somehow they don't work for me.
Yeah, Bella's packed down really well.
Yeah, that's another thing. I have to take, when I have a job, I have to put it all in boxes and take it to the studio, right? So I have a box for stand, a carrying case, a think tank carrying case for stands. And then I have this box in which I put all the modifiers that I'm gonna use and, you know, any, extension cords, all that type of stuff, because you never know what you're gonna need in studio, what they have available. So I carry all of that tape and everything. We talked about the camera. I use, for most of these, I've used Sony. I started using, I had a Sony and a Pentax medium format digital DSLR. Which I love that camera. I finally sold it. I ended up getting a GFX medium format. But I have two Sonys now, and basically have one pointing towards the group, one pointing towards the portrait, and I just switch between the two. Yes.
I think we're seeing the yellow screen is a total volunteer environment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one we're seeing on Zoom. Maybe that'll work. And okay, just
Flipped over. All right, cool.
if you're gonna talk, great.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so that's the lighting. Let me put some of these in here. Show you some of the.
On light modifiers, Ruben from Westcott did a presentation here, and that's available on YouTube.
On YouTube?
On YouTube.
Okay.
You'll be available on YouTube shortly.
Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna become a star. Yeah, let me show you this really quick. It's not showing. Yeah. Stop sharing. Yeah. Where is it? Here. Share. It's my back. Entire screen. All right, so you should be able to see that. So I did this. This is not the booklet, but I did some mini books for the grandparents that like the picture. So these are kind of like the mix between soccer and these are some of the ones I did for her ballet. When they're younger, like for example, she's middle school age, they can do like, they're not as balanced on point. So you have to, you know, like this, it's in a second, right? Because she can do it, but if she's not walking, if she's just standing, she's not as balanced. So she may look older, but basically we need to get the essence of dance, of ballet, without having to show these major movements that are typical in ballet, right? So it becomes a little bit more artistic that way. Like you have to figure out how to get that from them. And you work with the instructor to say, well, you know, you ask the instructor, like for example, oh, what kind of move she's really good at, and you know they have some of these poses that are kind of more flowy and things like that. But then you also have to put together some. You're not going to just take one pose, right? So you need to put together some that make sense, that are a little bit more thoughtful, and that just gives you the whole idea of she's a ballet dancer, right? This is the same backdrop, by the way, that green backdrop. It's just lit more on this one. Yeah. And these, they love these shots. It doesn't matter who they are, they love those shots. So we did one that was like next to each other. Yeah. Yeah. They love it. So all right.
They'll be able to show their grandkids someday, but still on my toes.
All right. Any more questions around that? So we talked photo, we talked the camera. I mentioned I use 50, 85 most of the time.
I need the mic, sorry, because I have a very soft voice. I was going to ask a little bit about your printing, like if you, as you give them individual prints, do you do anything special with the printing, or do you have a preferred paper? Or I know you mentioned the books that you do, but do the, like if they want like a big portrait above the fireplace kind of thing, do you do anything special with the paper or printing?
Yes. Where do I start? All right, let's start with the volume piece. Okay, this is the main part of the job. You take all these photos. I use Photo Day. I load all those photos to Photo Day. Photo Day takes care of sending them email, letting them know, hey, look, you have the gallery's ready. Go look at the gallery, reminders, and all these type of stuff. In there, they can order automatically. I don't even, once they're in Photo Day, I don't even have to touch it. It just works on its own. And they automatically send emails like 30 days later, 60 days later, hey, you haven't bought anything, do you want something or something like that? So sometimes you get like several months later, you get like oh, you just made you sold something, right? So that's really cool. I use, as a service, you can set up in Photo Day who's gonna be your printer, and I use White House WHCC, White House Custom Colors. Custom color. Yeah. I like them. I've been using them for a very long time. They do a good job. I never had a complaint of anyone saying, oh, the prints came bad or something like that. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. For the individual sessions, those are a little bit more customized. So I do generate the book for them, and I get it print. I use WHCC as well. I'm switching that. There's I like this other books that look more like coffee table books, which are pretty cool as well. But for now, I use WHCC. And then one of the things I'm getting into is doing mixed media prints. I'll take the photo, I'll digitally paint on top of the photo, and then I print the photo, and then I apply oils on top of the printed photo. And it has a number of layers on top. I'm trying to figure out how to market that. I've seen people like it, but at the same time, I don't have the time to do it because it's just intensive. It has different layers, and you have to work on it. For now, it's more of I'm playing around with it to kind of learn. But I know folks that do similar processes, and they're very at that point, you're exponentially raising the price of those offerings, right? Okay. So, but it's not a volume work. For my personal work or work that I'm doing for folks directly, I use Red River, and I like the Varita paper. They have a few options, but Palo Alto Varita, that's the one I like. I love that paper. So.
So I don't know if you've talked, do you have an assistant who manages the reservations and goes out and talks to the schools, or you've developed a clientele now that really takes care of you and you're happy with that? Or if you use your website, has quite a lot going for it.
Yeah.
And I wondered if people sign up through your website and then you contact them?
Yeah, so I have two systems that I underuse. But I like photo days for the volume stuff. So the way the process worked, when I sign up with a studio, we sign a contract. They provide me with a list of students and their contact information for the parents. I load them into Photo Day and create private galleries for each student. Is it necessary? I'm not sure, but it's kids that we're dealing with, and I prefer to have private galleries for them and go through the extra trouble. Once that's done, Photo Day takes care of reminding them, hey, the photo shoot is coming, whatever, you know, any news that they have, I can customize that or leave it as is. The day of the shoot, we have, they have an app. Yeah, and some of them, there's like ProPhoto, for example, use QR codes for the kids, but QR codes become difficult when you have groups, because what are you gonna do? There's a bunch of kids in there. So I like Photo Day. You check them in with a photo on an app, take a photo of them. Any photo that that kid is on, it gets tagged with their name and they get to see it, right? So I don't have to worry about any of that. I train my wife. My wife, I mean, it doesn't take much. You just follow the app and my wife does it. I prefer my wife to do it because it's less creepy that way, right? Like you have a grown man trying to take little girls' pictures. Although I'm the photographer at the end of the day, so I'm not really sure, but I prefer to save myself the trouble and let her do it. Or I get an instructor to do it, or a senior student to do it. And if it's a senior student, I pay them. So they take a picture that checks in the student. We'll do the Photo Day as normal. We don't have to worry about any, you know, photos or identification or anything like that for the rest of the day. When I'm done with the photos, I grab all the photos. The group ones, I already have it marked from the instructors. The individual ones, I select the ones I like, put them all together, put them through Evoto. It takes a few minutes, and then load them up to Photo Day. And then Photo Day starts sending emails out to the parents. So I've gotten that down to, yeah,
I'm hearing you right. The photo day recognizes the face and automatically populates the album.
automatically puts them into private galleries. I've only had one problem in which there were identical kids, identical twins. And I had other identical twins before, but these two, they had like the same hairdo and everything, the same uniforms and everything, and it put them backwards, like it would flip them. So I ended up having to like, okay, just like put them all together and let them, you know, like between the two. But other than that, I never had an issue with it.
You mentioned pet parents being really difficult clients to work with. I've always heard the rumors of wedding photographers also struggling. How have you found the parents of these kids? Are they difficult clients as well?
Yeah, so it could be, and it depends. What I try to do is that I try to keep it so the photography room or the studio where the photography is, no parents can go in. All right. So the instructors take care of, hey, group A, you got to get in. Boom. The group A gets in. There's an instructor, another instructor telling them, oh, do this, do that, you know, get in this, on this position, shoot, go. All right. And in most cases, that's fine. I've had, in the competition one, because they're individually signing up, the parents are there, and most of the time they're fine. I actually find that the little students' parents are more of an issue. I've had little girls that show up with so much makeup that they can barely move their mouth. And then the parent, I don't want to criticize because my girls are not in that yet. I have one that is starting ballet school coming up in September. But but they're like spraying all this hair and they're like, do this position or this move. They're kids, you know, little kids. Really what you're looking for is a cute picture. You're not looking for, oh, look at the next best dancer, right? You're looking cute picture and, you know, a couple of cute poses. Let's go. Next. So no, I don't get to interact with the parents as much as the pets. Yeah. Any other questions?
So you are president of PPA Austin chapter, and I didn't want us to finish the night without you having the opportunity to tell us about your group and what we could get maybe by going to some of your meetings and what it's like.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. You mind if I have some water really quick? Okay. Austin PPA, anyone heard of it or has been in meetings? I know a couple of you are members. Pretty much a photography group, but it's a lot of professional photographers. The goal is not so much talking about how to take pictures, is more on kind of like topics around the business of photography or how to be profitable on photography. Yes, we talk about how to take pictures. I mean, we like it. We talk about photography, gear, all that stuff. But a lot of the focus is on how do we do things that we do to make the business go forward. Like, for example, you know, talking about the process of using Photoday or something like that. I think what you get from going to those meetings. Yes, we have kind of like guest speakers monthly. You get something out of that. But I think what you get a lot is being social with other photographers that are on business in the area. We have photographers that have been in business for a very long time or retire from business, from the business of photography. We have photographers like myself who've been in photography for a while, but you know, it's a part-time job to them. And we have photographers that are just starting their business and they're dedicated to it. So we learn a little bit from everyone, right? Like what they're doing, the marketing, what systems they're using, process they're using, things like that. And you could have those conversations and kind of make it, kind of incorporate some of those to the practices that you do today. So I think that's one of the biggest value. Obviously, we follow PPA, a lot of the PPA procedures. So we have print competitions, which I'm going to talk a little bit about there. We do the print competition. We do the monthly, I guess it's called print competition as well. But I'm thinking the one in November and then the monthly ones, which you could get points as well on those monthly ones. So we have like accrued points for the best photographer at the end of the year or something like that. So we do a lot of that. We also like to participate a lot on the Texas PPA and the national PPA events. So we have workshops during the year. We do a big workshop in January that is a business workshop. We have a number of top business owners, photography business owners in the community come in, present to this. Last time we had over 50 participants, and we're thinking of growing it this next year. So we do quite a bit of those things. One of the things that we do, which I wanted to talk to you about, is our volunteering work. This year, this is the first year we're doing this. It's called Hope Rising Portraits. And I'll tell you a little story. Do I have time for a little story?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't want to keep you here longer than you have to. So
The Z9 times out after 2 hours.
okay.
So you got up to 2 hours.
Okay, got it. So a little story. So my parents, you know, we were not we're a lower middle class family when we were younger. One day we didn't have like we didn't have enough means to go to a professional photographer, take a family photo, things like that, when I was little. But one day, a friend of my dad.
Hold for just a second. We're not seeing your screen.
Not seeing your screen again.
Refresh or something.
You see my back. This is the worst angle. Okay, should be going on now. Right?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Start play.
Yeah, so one day a friend of my dad at work was a hobby photographer, brought his film camera. It was 2000, well, 1999, because it was the Christmas going into 2000. Brought his camera, couple flashes, took a picture of us, kind of like in the living room. And that photo has gone 20 years and it's still the showpiece in my mom's house. Now, if you look at the photo now, it's completely blurry. It's a photo of a photo. It went on Facebook. She lost the photo, took a picture of the screen in Facebook, and now it's hanged this big in front of in front, right? In the middle of her living room when she has, I mean, I've taken a lot of pictures of her, of the family in the many years. That one is the favorite, right? All that to say is that sometimes those are the ones that mean the most to us, and we want to give that gift to the families that cannot afford it. So we're photographing 55. I think we have 55 families that have signed up. We are working with Austin ISD and TA Brown Elementary. So there are students from TA Brown. Most of them are low-income students. It's on July 27th, and we can use all the help that we can. So this particular one, it's a forum. We have a number of different things that you can do. You don't have to be there all day long. But we appreciate whatever the group can do. Feel free to sign up if you like to, and I'll give you a link to be able to sign up to that. Events like this is something that I'm trying to establish within the Austin PPA so we can help the community as well. That's one thing. It's very dear to me. The other thing, July Summer Social is on the 21st. Patrick mentioned it earlier. You're all welcome to come. There's going to be, for the first certain amount of people, I'm not sure how many people yet, but there's going to be free drinks for those people. But I think the biggest thing is to kind of hang out and talk shop, talk camera, talk photography, or not, with just be social with the rest of the group. So you're welcome to come. We may have some folks from Precision that may come as well, just the community. Yeah, it's free. Yeah. This is going to be in Austin Beer Works up here in North Austin. It's free. It's just a time to hang out. So you're all welcome to come. Patrick is going to be one of our guest speakers on August, September. And I would like to invite all of you to come to our meeting and kind of see what Patrick has to say, since you ignore him while he's here. He can impress you with his experience. But also you get to see our format, how we do meetings, our people. You get to meet some of them as well, and hopefully you find it valuable enough that you come and join us for more meetings. So Like I tell my girls, if you know Spanish, you know what I'm talking about. But colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. It's the end of the story. Any questions?
Miguel, thank you much, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm looking forward to the session.
Thank you, thank you.